folks, it's Philip here from the unofficial LEGO Hero Factory MOCs blog, and I'm back with another set build interview of Jimmy Stringer. So, this is a pretty cool guy. I've heard that he's very nice, from the makers of Bionicle characters. So there's the lid, it's black, and so I don't want to spend or waste too much time on the box, so... Okay, so let's start it out with our transparent pieces. Let's see, we have one translucent orange here, of course, so it's not translucent neon orange, it's just translucent orange, so it's pretty sweet looking. I like that. Also, we have a translucent neon orange head, like we saw on the Glatorian, so it's got some interesting facial details, plus all up there to put the helmet on, so that's a pretty nice piece. Also, we have some orange pieces, which would consist of 3 orange limbs. Now, starting off with our black pieces, we have these little sort of socket connectors that we saw in Bionicle before, which look like this. They just look like that, and so they're pretty cool. They're very useful. They're also very common. 2 black feet, 2 black leg armor pieces, 1 black back plate, which is not very compatible with new sort of chest plates, but it's very nice and it works well with the one that they came up with new to Hero Factory. Speaking of which, here it is. It's not very good looking without the hero core. It's got a lot of details that might, although these fins might go wrong with head mobility, and what are these? Is it like a thorax on a bug or something? I don't know. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. We also have his little sort of
arm prop, hollow weapon, cannon, sonic, boom, blaster, bevel, weird, hollow, junky thingy
that they went very cheap on. I am not a fan of what they did here with this. It's extremely hollow, and there are 2 fake bevels, and although one good thing is that it's little axle sticking out, its little peg is sticking out like that, so you could take an arm and put it in there, even a hand if you had one. Speaking of hands, here one is now, and it's in black. I think that's a new color for fists, or just very uncommon if not. So I'm glad to see another black fist. Yeah, pretty cool. We have his helmet, which is unique to Jimmy Stringer. There's not much to it. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. There's speakers all over his mohawk sort of thing, and there's also speakers over above his eyes. There's a speaker for a mouth, which looks like it would just say like fold up or something. I don't know, it just looks like it's sort of wrapped around, like it's not actually connected to his extra eyes down here, which I don't really get what they're doing with those extra eyes, but yeah, it's a pretty interesting looking piece. Not exactly one of my favorites, but yeah, maybe if Jimmy Stringer continues to live on, we can see a better version of his helmet. And of course, the instruction booklets go to page 11, which is pretty standard now for these Hero Factory heroes. And so now I guess I should start building. Okay, so that is Jimmy Stringer. There he is. He is in all of his black and orange glory, and he is looking pretty epic. Let's just start from the ground up, as usual. We have his normal feet, which can bend up and down a fair amount, and then side to side there is absolutely nothing. And then his legs are only one piece, so you can pivot there, you can't pivot there, and you can go up and down there, but of course it gets stuck there. Going backwards, yeah, that goes without saying. And that's the same with both legs. And so his arm can do a lot of things, except it cannot just go to his side. It just gets hindered so much by that chest plate with its big chest. Yeah. So, again, his arm is only one piece, so one piece means no elbows, and then his hand can do all sorts of awful, awful things. And this weapon is, it's not, he can't actually kneel down low enough to get it propped up on something, which is really ironic, and you can't really bend it to this side from like any angle around here, it's gonna look bad no matter how you pose it, unless you do something funky looking like that, which, yeah, looks kind of strange, and so that just gets hindered so much. So that's very disappointing, and oh, I saw that one coming. His head is hindered by those big old shoulder blades. Look at that. It just doesn't move around that much. You have to really sort of bend it up like that to get it to move around. I know my shoulders don't do that, so why should his? As for colors, there may be 4, but I think it works out because all of the oranges just seem to match. Like, that orange matches the orange in his head, and this orange matches the orange for his hero core, and it just all sort of works together. And so that's good, and overall, I think this is a great 1.0 figure. Probably I like him a little bit better than Duncan Bulk, not more than Preston Stormer though, because that arm, they just went so cheap on it. And yeah, so I think that I would probably recommend this guy to a friend if there weren't any better things out there for Hero Factory. But yeah, I wouldn't really recommend any of the 1.0 heroes. They're just kind of lame. Of course, it looks pretty good from the back. And so, overall, I think he's probably one of my favorite heroes. He's probably, or he might even be my very favorite, although they just went so cheap on that weapon, which is really disappointing. That I really don't like the way that they worked out that would work. I mean, who approved of it? It's really unwieldy and unposable. And okay, so articulation wise, he is not a good figure, just like any of the other heroes, although Alpha Team is worse than Rookie Team. And so other things, let's say playability, there's really not much you can do with him. You can pretend to shoot, but he doesn't actually shoot anything, so there's kind of no point. I mean, I can imagine this guy going up and punching, but meh. As for aesthetics, I think he is definitely one of the better looking figures if you don't look at his weapon wrong. I think maybe even the best looking figure. I like the use of speakers on him. I think that is pretty nice looking. I really like the use of orange as sort of an accent color for the black, and also just the whole sort of sound weaponry and stuff. I just sort of like that whole idea. And so I wouldn't recommend this to a friend, but if they were going to buy a 1.0 hero, I would recommend this one by far. He is definitely my favorite, and so check out the blog at herofactoryphil.blogspot.com. There's mocks, reviews, and more.